Good evening. Welcome to English Parents Forum for GCSE. So this evening I'm going to be talking to you about your child's GCSE, the November mock exams, and how best to prepare our students for the mock exams in November. So to begin with, English GCSE is actually made up of two sections, English Language GCSE and English Literature GCSE. For English Language, your son or daughter will have to sit two papers. Paper 1, looking at an unseen fiction text, and Paper 2, comparing two non-fiction texts. The duration for both papers is 1 hour 45 minutes, and both papers are divided into two sections. Section A, which is the reading section, and Section B, which is the writing section. For the next section of your child's GCSE, they will be looking at the English literature component. Now, this again is divided into two papers, and it's slightly different this year as a result of the COVID situation. For paper 1, students will enter for two papers from three options, and these options are paper A, where students answer one question on their poetry anthology cluster, which is the Power and Conflict collection, and the duration of this paper is 50 minutes. Paper B is where students answer one question on their 19th century novel, and at Taveram we have taught A Christmas Carol, Jane Eyre, The Sign of 4, Jekyll and Hyde. Your child will know which text is their 19th century novel. Or paper C, looking at the modern text, Inspector Calls. This is 1 hour long, and the students will answer one essay question from a choice of two. So for paper 1, students will only sit two papers from a selection of three. And next week in class, we will be deciding which component to drop and which two to take forward to the exams next summer. For literature paper 2, again, this is divided into two sections. We've got section A and section B, this time on one paper. So on section A, students will be assessed on Macbeth, and in section B, students will be asked to answer two compulsory questions on unseen poetry. Part 1 of this is where students will answer a question on one unseen poem, and it's worth 24 marks. And part 2 is where students compare the first unseen poem with a second unseen poem, and this is worth 8 marks. This is the compulsory paper, and actually this is the paper that they will be studying for their mocks. So moving forward to the November mocks, as I previously said, students will be sitting the compulsory literature paper, which is Macbeth and unseen poetry, but they will also be sitting paper 1, which is looking at an unseen fiction text. And your son and daughter has been preparing this through their homework and half-term homework. So how can we help students revise for English language? Well, remember it's divided into two sections, reading and writing. So for reading section, what we advise students to do is pick up a text, read it, and ask the following questions. What's happening in the text? What perspective is it written in? Is it first or third person? Are there any methods that the writer uses? And by methods, we mean language devices like adjectives or adverbs, nouns, effective verbs, things like pathetic fallacy, how the weather sets the tone. All of these different things can create meaning, and this is what students need to be looking out for when they're reading their unseen texts. Is the writer trying to create certain effects? What are they? What are they hoping to achieve? And also they consider, how am I supposed to feel as a reader? For writing, students can practice this in a variety of different ways. The most effective way is simply to choose an image and write about it, and plan for imaginative writing using the framework on the slide. Remembering, are they using a variety of punctuation? What effect are you trying to create through your punctuation? Are you writing with a variety of sentences? Are you using a range of vocabulary? And are you using a range of sentence structures to create different meanings? All of these things students can practice independently, and they can also be reading to support their writing as well. Some useful websites students can refer to, obviously BBC Bitesize. There's also a good website called Studywise, and there's also revision guides on Teams on the student resources. For literature, the compulsory unit that your son or daughter will be completing for the November mocks, for Macbeth, they really need to be revising key characters. So Lady Macbeth, Macbeth, the witches, Banquo, and they need to be thinking about the key themes. What important quotes there are said by the key characters and where they happen in the play. They also need to be revising the context of the play, what society believed in the 1500s, as well as looking through the notes in their exercise books. The English department have uploaded revision booklets onto Teams in the student area to support students further. For unseen poetry, again, using the revision from their English exercise books from school, students can also look on Teams for further resources. But quite simply, students can pick up any poem, read the poem, and think, what is the message? Are there any themes appearing? Are there any poetic techniques in the poem? Why are they used? So these are all different strategies that students can use to help support their revision for their English November mocks and their GCSEs in the following summer. If there are any questions that haven't been answered in tonight's parent forum, please do get in touch with myself, Megan Hollis, or Jess Webb from the English department. Thank you very much.